Hello, welcome to the Alone Show. I'm your host, John Alone. In this episode, may not have any regulars because, well, this is the time that do the you know what and yada yada yada. Anyway, as for our guest, he's from Texas. He is a food blogger and he's been doing it for many years and made a massive and successful career out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Dennis Litley.
Well, hello, and thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm happy to be here.
Anytime. So, how's life?
Life is pretty good, and actually, we're back in New Jersey. I am a Texan through and through, and will always be one. But currently, this Texan is living in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, life is good. It's the weather's changing up here. We were in Florida for the winter, and just got back the beginning of this month, and getting back to our routine. Getting the house in order, and of course, my wife's redecorating, and anything you can think of, and me just trying to get back into the swing of things of getting back into cooking, production, and all the good stuff that goes along with food blogging.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. So, what takes you to New Jersey?
Well, my father was from New Jersey. And when we moved from Texas, it's been quite a long time ago that we moved, but we moved back to New Jersey. He had been through two wars and was pretty much, they call it PTSD now. Well, he was fried from both of those. And we came back home to give him more of a sense of familiarity with the area to try and recenter him. Um, and we've been in New Jersey ever since. But, my mom always said, once a Texan, always a Texan. There's something in the water, always pulls you back home. And so my wife's family is all from this area too. So that brought us back to New Jersey.
All right then. So, so what is it you're doing right now, or you've done this week?
A lot of a lot of working on posts. I've been trying to be very creative this year. This is I call this the year of Chef Dennis, and I've already got 53 new posts up, and I'm just working like a dog trying to just cook and create and take pictures and post new stuff for all my readers and my fans all over the world. So trying to keep them well fed.
Hmm, interesting. So, this is coming from the very top of my head, like always. So, have you ever thought about trying space tourism?
Oh, I would be all over that. If they want to, even at this age, although I don't think my doctors would probably let me go, um, but I mean, I would go into space at the drop of a hat. I don't care what might happen. I would go.
Fabulous. I do too. What game have you spent the most hours playing?
Game? Ooh, I honestly don't play games. My hobby works really well with my business because my hobby is cooking. So my wife always says you need to find a hobby, and I says no, I don't. I have one.
Oh, okay. Have you ever, have you like ever opened any other business outside of cooking?
Yes, I have, and they have not been really successful. I've tried a variety of other endeavors all through my life. I was a musician. I wrote jingles for a while. I was in ads, did that. Tried being an accountant, and nothing ever really resonated with me. There's probably another half dozen or dozen things I have tried along the way to be, and if it wasn't involving food, I wasn't really interested or any good at it. Just like I tell my wife, if you want me to play a sport and I can't hit anybody, I'm not going to be very good at it. So it's got to be a full contact sport for me to enjoy it.
Cool, cool. Would you rather never age physically or never age mentally?
Ooh, right now I'm going with physically with all the things that's wrong with me. But if my mind went, even though my body still worked, that could be an ugly thing too. So, but I have to go with physically right now because I could go. I think I could keep my mind strong for a little while longer.
Okay, sounds good. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. I guess if I had to pick one city, that's hard because I have a new favorite city now too. But I might say Paris, just if you ask me without even thinking about it. Although I would be hard pressed to leave the U.S. Forever. I would have to be just a visitor type thing. But I also love Madrid. Madrid was freaking awesome. So, but Paris would probably still have it.
Fabulous. I actually been to Paris at one point. It was great, but there was a lot of backlash as the aftermath later down the line. But you
Yeah,
know what? It could be worse though.
they do have their issues. They do seem to have more. Even the Italians, they seem strikes and things, and it's you see more of that in those two countries. But just for either one, even Italy, the quality of life as opposed to the United States, where everything happens in its time. It's not rush, rush, hurry, hurry. Americans are so fast paced and everything's on demand and immediate gratification. The reason I liked Madrid so much was everybody was happy. I mean, it was like, oh, I mean, the people I saw anyway, and I'd be walking out in the street. It'd be 11 o'clock at night. The streets would be packed. And I always tell people it was like New York, only everybody was happy.
Cool. If you had a song for every time you entered the room, what song would that be?
Oh. Well, my first thing that popped in my head was "Who Let the Dogs Out," but I don't know if that would be appropriate anymore. But that's what came to mind.
Oh, anything will do, really.
Yeah. So that would probably be my theme song. If I had ever had a cooking show, I think I might have to make that happen.
Okay, sounds good. If the universe was just a simulation, what update or patch would it need right now?
It would need an update or a patch to make people stop shooting each other. That would be my big update because it's just getting completely out of hand here in the states with mass shootings and people with their assault weapons and just we need a reset. Either that or, and this is probably going to sound really crazy because it's my business, but if we could patch that there would never be any social media.
Fabulous. I'd certainly take it on from that.
Yeah.
What is the best way to stay motivated?
The best way to stay motivated is to enjoy what you do. Too many times people pick things to do based on what they're going to make. How much money is in it for me, or what kind of fame am I going to get from it? But at the end of the day, you got to be happy with what you're doing. And if you're happy with what you're doing, like me, I'm going to be 70 this year. I absolutely love being a blogger. And I look forward to it every day. I don't feel like it's a chore to get up and go to work. It's just I start my day with my, going through my emails, having a cup of coffee, and then I go on and say, well, what am I going to cook today, or what am I going to write today, or am I going to take pictures, or so if as long as you enjoy it and it's a passion, and I found the best way to keep it that way is to farm out the things you don't like to do. Like I hate Pinterest, so I found someone that does it really, really well. I don't like sending out my email newsletters, so I found someone that really loves doing that. So you find people that enjoy what they're doing, and if it's something you don't like to do and you can hire them to do it, everybody's happy.
Absolutely. What's something that a lot of people are missing out on because they don't know about it?
Oh, whew. A lot of people are missing out on just getting out and meeting someone new. They're afraid to open themselves up to talk to the person sitting next to them, to and break bread with someone that is a stranger and find out about them. I think, and traveling does that. That's, the pandemic hit, I stopped traveling and I missed that. And part of that was, we could sit next to a table full of strangers and in some instances not even speak the same language. And you're laughing and having a good time by the end of the meal. So I think people are missing out on that aspect. They're just keeping to themselves. They're staying in their safe zone. You got to get out of that safe zone sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
The good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't know. That again, an old movie title came to mind, but I think that would be a good title for me, or again, to borrow an old title, The Man Who Would Be King. I don't know.
No,
One
that
of the two.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Where would you see yourself 20 years from now?
In a nursing home, gumming my food. I'll be 90 at that point.
Dang.
I'm hoping that I'm still sitting on the deck of my condo, enjoying life, having a cup of coffee, figuring out what I'm going to write next. Um, but I will more than likely be done food blogging by then, and hopefully I'll just still be able to enjoy life. So my goal for 20 years from now is to have a good quality of life still.
Great. What fictional item do you wish you owned in real life?
Oh, a transporter from Star Trek, so I could
Oh,
transport anywhere I wanted to.
yeah, I would want that too, because it would be like great if I feel like where I am right now is just like, ugh, it's so cold. I could
Yeah,
just go to somewhere tropical like uh
absolutely.
southern Italy,
Yeah,
Brazil,
yeah,
somewhere in Africa,
yeah.
somewhere
Somewhere.
warm and yes, exactly.
Lunch in Tahiti? That sounds good. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Dinner in Paris? Okay. You know,
Aye.
you
Oui,
know,
oui. Yeah.
yeah. So that would be really something cool to have.
Yeah, absolutely. What's worth spending more on to get the best out of?
Ooh, I would say food for one thing, meats particular or seafood. Um, Part of the problem with the food industry in the United States is the supply chain and the quality of the products that we have. In the rush, and they always say it's to feed the masses. In fact, it's more about making money. As we have really turned the food industry into a horror show, how we treat animals, um, just some of the processing that we do on food, some of the additives that we add. We have perverted the food system entirely in the United States. And I tell people, I know you can't, and I don't buy everything organic, but there's a thing called the Dirty Dozen that they put out with the worst fruits and vegetables there are, and you should buy them organic. I buy cleaners, house cleaners, and laundry detergent and dish cleaners that are all safe, that aren't full of chemicals. Uh, so I think that is where you need to spend your money if you're going to do it. If you could say, Dennis, I can't afford to buy good food and good chemicals, which should it be? I would go with the good chemicals because they affect your whole body. I mean, your skin is the largest organ on your body, and everything you're bringing in, or you're taking the chemicals into your lungs, or they're all over your body. So that would be something.
Fabulous. What is your favorite season?
Fall, without a doubt, fall. It's not going to be as hot. It's cooling off. The evenings are chilly. They're crisp. The air smells clean. Um, it's just everything that goes along with fall, except for pumpkin spice. I freaking hate pumpkin spice, but everything else is really good about fall.
Okay. Yeah, I like fall too. Mainly the leaves, of course.
Yeah, yeah. As long as I don't have to rake them, I'm happy. Yeah.
Me too. If you could erase one past experience, what would it be?
Wow. That's I have very few regrets in my life, but probably the time I picked the wrong pick six by one number. I would go back and pick the right number for the lottery.
Ah, okay. What happens in real life but rarely gets portrayed in movies?
You know, I watch cooking show or movies about chefs, and the chef is done. Well, first of all, he's always clean at work, which I just boggles my mind. And second of all, when he's done work, He goes home and he takes out 20 or 30 ingredients and he sets up something and he makes himself something to eat. That is not what happens. We're usually so tired, so beat up. If we're not at the bar drinking with one of the servers, we're going through a drive through of some ungodly, horrible fast food chain just to get something to eat before we go to bed.
All
But
right.
that's not romantic. No one would like that.
Yeah, I agree. What's the most disturbing fantasy or dream you've had?
Oh, oh Lord. That's a good one. Well, the most disturbing dream I think probably anyone has ever had is where they're dreaming they're going to the bathroom in the middle of the night and they wake up and hope to God that they have not wet or done anything, soiled themselves in their sleep. So um, that's probably the worst. I've had some scary ones where, of course, zombies are chasing you or vampires are chasing you, but those aren't really disturbing as much as scary. But disturbing would be that I would dream along those lines of actually, going to the bathroom while I'm sleeping.
Okay, sounds good. Do you ever pay attention to the news?
I do. Um, it's just that can be pretty disturbing. I get most of my news online. To be honest with you, every now and then I will turn on the local news just to watch to see if anything's going on in the area. But some of the news services that I have on my phone, I'll scroll through them a few times a day just to see if anything's happening. Or I used to really like Twitter for that, but boy, Twitter has really gone to crap since Elon Musk bought it. I mean, it's just horrible. I see nothing but ads and different things. But social media usually is where I got most of my news.
Okay. Oh yeah, and also the little badge icons that says, "Hey, this guy's a politician," and this thing is filled with that thing, and so on and so forth.
Oh, I know. And again, it's just like, if it isn't bad news, it isn't news. It's not all bad things happen all day. There's some good things, but people don't want to hear that. They want to hear all the really bad stuff. So, whether it's so they can make their lives feel better or just I don't understand it, but that's what sells. Sensationalism sells.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Yeah.
If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use it for?
Ugh. If I had enough money and I was given 500 acres of land, I would build a dog rescue for large breed dogs.
That's nice.
Yeah, I love the big dogs. We had Newfoundlands and Saint Bernards growing up, and I had Bernese Mountain Dogs later in life, and I would just take them all, everyone I could find that needed a home.
Brilliant. And of course, you said about the news and whatever, but how much time do you spend on the internet?
Uh, well, actually, on the internet, probably about 2 or 3 hours a day, maybe. And that's just for social, doing social media and stuff. I'm on the computer probably closer to 8 hours a day, but being actually on the internet, just enough to do what I need to do to post and then really just to see what my friends are doing real quick. I try not to go down that rabbit hole because you can look up and it'll be 8 hours. So I try to do just what I have to do and move on to work from there.
Okay. If you could use magic to do one mundane task for the rest of your life, what would it be?
If I could use magic to do all my shopping so I never had to go to a grocery store again. I mean, I use the magic. We have something called Instacart in the United States, and I use that magic often. Um, but yeah, I like to shop. I like going to the store, but it just takes so much time these days. Seems like it. So, I order all my meat online, and seafood, so it helps out with that, but still have to go to the store, and I could just not be bothered these days.
Yeah, it'd be quite convenient.
Yes, it would. Just a snap of the fingers and your refrigerator's full.
Sweet. What is your favorite life hack?
Hmm. My favorite life hack. My favorite life hack, I don't know if it's really a hack, but it's a way to make me feel better, especially if I'm having a bad day. It's just a random act of kindness. from somebody totally unexpected. So that is a way to make yourself feel better, to be happy, and to make someone else happy at the same time. So I don't know if that's really a hack or not,
Hmm.
but that's
Okay.
that's how I get through some bad days sometimes.
Okay. That's interesting. Really effective. Have you ever had any paranormal experience?
I have quite a few. Um, when I was younger, we were driving home to Texas, and we were in Mississippi, and we stopped at a old battleground called Vicksburg. And as we were driving through it, it started to get dusk. And it started to get dusk. I felt like I was beginning to have a panic attack. I was having trouble breathing. I just didn't like it. And my brother, who was like, I think 18 at the time, and I was oh, 13 or 12, he was driving. He got us out of there and got us back. And then I was okay. And we told my father what had happened. He says, "Yeah, that's common over there." He said during the Civil War, a lot of the dead were buried in mass graves, and they're uneasy spirits. They're not restful. And we bivouacked there. And when when they were at the army doing their army things, getting ready for stuff, a lot of guys had that experience where they just couldn't. They had that uneasy feeling of something was wrong. So, and I've had that on other occasions too. In places, I was up in Vermont, and when I would go downstairs to the downstairs kitchen, I had that feeling. And I just had a feeling it was built into the side of a mountain. I said, there must have been some Indian burial ground here or something. So there was unrestful spirits. And over the course of the years, not so much lately. It hasn't happened probably, I'd say, the last 15 or 20 years, but I would have it quite frequently up to that point.
Alright then. When things break, would you fix them or replace them?
Depends how badly they're broken. These days, I'm more apt to replace them, but I also like a challenge. So if I can fix it, I'll fix it. So a little of both.
Alright then. Sounds good. What is something that always makes you laugh?
I love watching other people and how they do things. Sometimes it boggles my mind that that either they can't figure something out, or um, they don't want to figure it out. But people can be the biggest source of just cheering yourself up for the day if you just watch and see how they try to achieve some tasks.
Ah,
I know that
interesting.
we have a guy in the United States as a comedian, and his favorite saying is, "You can't fix stupid."
Well, that is true. That's very true. What silly or funny thing are you afraid of?
Oh, I do not like frogs. I don't know if I'm afraid of them. I just don't like them in mice. My mother raised a very sissy child in that respect because she was afraid of everything that jumped and bumped and went in the night. And here I am, this big burly man who would rather face down, a samurai than a mouse or something.
Alright, that makes sense. What has been the nicest place you've been to?
Uh, Ireland. Ireland was just fantastic. It was beautiful. It was green. The people were friendly and happy. Uh, Considering that really wasn't like a summer resort or someplace I'd go for that, it was just a really nice place to be.
Oh, yes, I would love that too. What kind of music do you often listen to?
These days, I find myself listening to a lot of the 60s and 70s because that was my era. But strangest thing, all of a sudden now, and I was one of those hippie freaks with the long hair and loved a good rock music and heavy metal and screaming guitars. And every now and then I find myself listening to the Sinatra station and the 40s. We have XM radio, and I'm listening to big band and Sinatra, and I'm going, what happened to me?
Okay. Do you ever pay attention to sport?
Oh, yeah. Not as much as I used to, but yes. I'm an American football fan. Sadly, I do not like European football. Um, and I like hockey and I can take or leave a little dose of a lot of other sports, but these days not as much as I used to. I wrestled for 30 years and played football and did a variety of other things. Like I said, if it wasn't a contact sport, I generally wasn't as good at it.
Okay. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on with no preparation?
Oh, too many things. See, how to be a food blogger, number one, how to be a travel blogger, number two, how to do SEO to make your blog more Google friendly. I've learned a whole lot of things about blogging over the years, more probably than I thought I would or wanted to. But those would be good starts.
Very good. Do you pour the milk in before the cereal or after the cereal before the milk?
Oh, milk goes in after the cereal because then I know how much to put in because I think I usually have about the same amount of cereal, but you never can tell. And then if I have bananas or fruit, I got to leave some room because they got to be wet too.
Okay, sounds good. Do you have any routines you try to do every day?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Every day I like to go to the bathroom. That's always a biggie. And the other thing is, having my coffee and going over my statistics for the previous day, how busy I was, and the first thing I like to do is wake up. That's always on my list of things to do.
All right, sounds good. How did you spend your last birthday?
Oh, what did I do? It couldn't have been very memorable because I don't remember.
Oh
My
wow.
this birthday, I'm hoping to be in Italy. The plan is to go to Italy for my 70th. But last year, I honestly don't remember. Most birthdays for me, honestly, are just another day. My parents would celebrate it more than I did, I think. Uh, but after they both passed, I says it's just pretty much as always when I work on my birthday. In the food business as a chef, you work all holidays, you work when other people are off enjoying life. And my birthday was just never, give me another day where I can just relax and unwind, where I you know, uh, don't have to be the center of attention, I guess, for being a birthday boy. I don't know.
Sounds good. What is the best pair of shoes you own?
The best pair of shoes, the most comfortable, sturdiest, everyday shoe I have are a pair of Merrells. They're kind of like a hiking sneaker, I guess I want to say. And that I live in those because, and I have like three pair of them. And when one starts to go, I get rid of them and get a new pair. They're very, they offer a lot of support. And having been on my feet all my life as a chef on horrible floors, my back is bad, my knees are bad. So a good shoe with support that is comfortable means a lot. So my Merrells actually.
All right, sounds good. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, Dennis, talking about your journeys as a food blogger, travels, and all of other things. It's been amazing.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and answer your questions because I never know what you're going to ask. They're always so fun. So,
Oh, yes, absolutely. And until next time, stay tuned for more.